Two unexpected moments stole the spotlight at Eagles training camp, one involving a player who's been getting serious praise, even from A.J. Brown. The other came on the hottest day of camp so far, where tensions ran high and even vets were giving rookies some serious side-eye. Meanwhile, depth chart battles heated up, backups impressed, and spots on the roster started to shift. If you're a true Eagles fan, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any updates. Let's get into it. Terrace Marshall Jr. was having himself a bit of a breakout moment at Eagles training camp, until things took a tough turn Tuesday when he left the field early with what looked like a leg injury. And yep, it all went down during Philly's first fully padded practice of the summer. NBC Sports' Dave Zangaro reported that Marshall Jr. needed some help from the trainers to walk off the field, but thankfully it wasn't a cart situation. Still, anytime a guy who's been flashing all offseason limps away mid-practice, the concern level spikes. Marshall's been quietly building some buzz in that crowded Eagles receiver room, fighting for that WR3 role behind A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith. He's been making plays, earning praise, and even had Brown himself hyping him up to reporters. A.J. straight up said Marshall's been turning heads since spring and that he's bringing some real competition to the room. In his words, he's going to make the room very uncomfortable, and that's a great thing. That's the kind of endorsement that makes coaches and fans lean in. Now, as far as updates on the injury, so far, it's crickets from the team. No official word yet on the severity, but fingers are crossed that it's nothing major. You'd hate to see a guy who's finally catching fire get derailed just as the pads come on. Marshall Jr.'s journey to Philly hasn't exactly been smooth sailing. Drafted 59th overall by Carolina back in 2021, he never really found his groove there. Some flashes? Sure. But between a tough rookie season and a mostly quiet 2023 campaign, the Panthers eventually cut ties. After short stints with the Niners practice squad and the Raiders, where he logged just 3 catches last season, Marshall ended up signing a 1-year deal with the Eagles in April. Now he's fighting to prove he belongs, and by all accounts, he's been making the most of it, until this injury hiccup. For now, the hope is that it's minor and he'll be back competing soon, because the dude was starting to look like one of camp's early feel-good stories. And if you thought that was intense, hold on. The second story just dropped, and it shakes up the battle for roster spots even more. The pads came on, and so did the heat, literally and figuratively, as the Eagles hit the field for their first fully padded practice on what was easily the hottest day of camp so far. The start time even got bumped up an hour to 9 a.m. just to beat the brutal July temps. But even with the weather cranking and the fan turnout looking thinner than usual, things got spicy in a hurry. Defensive coordinator Vic Fangio was all about it, saying padded practices crank the speed and intensity way up, especially in the trenches. For him, it's all about making defenders diagnose plays at full speed, run or pass, and nothing simulates that better than real pads. Linemen didn't do the classic one-on-one pass rush drills, but there was plenty of contact. Combo blocks from the O-line, defensive stunts, and some full-throttle backers versus backs in protection reps. And that's where we got our whoa moment of the day. Ben Van Sumeren, the linebacker turned fullback, flat-out bulldozed Jeremiah Trotter Jr. in a blocking drill. Trotter popped up with a "what was that?" shrug. Van Sumeren gave one right back. Outside of that thump, Trotter actually looked solid, especially in coverage. Fangio backed that up, saying Trotter's development is way ahead of last year thanks to being healthy and having a full season in the system under his belt. Now, if you're betting on the first camp scuffle, keep an eye on Jalen Carter and Landon Dickerson. There's no drama there yet, but that matchup feels combustible. Big dudes, big attitudes, and lots of pride. Tempers didn't flare Tuesday, but it came close when Tyler Steen yanked Moro Ojomo's helmet clean off during a bull rush. Ojomo, calm as ever, just picked it up and got back to business. On the wide receiver front, the early projection is 6 guys making the squad. The locked-in trio of A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, and Jahan Dotson, then Terrace Marshall Jr., Aeneas Smith, and Elijah Cooks rounding it out. Johnny Wilson is currently the odd man out, but that could flip depending on how serious Marshall's leg injury is. Still no update there, but it's definitely something to watch. Cooks keeps building chemistry with QB Tanner McKee, hauling in a touchdown for the 3rd straight practice. This one came in red zone work, where Cooks used every inch of his 6'4" frame to snag a McKee dart between 2 defenders. McKee's loving it, calling Cooks a big body guy with reliable hands, and he's hyped to see him in live preseason action. First up is August 7th against the Bengals. And about that backup center spot, There's been a revolving door of candidates behind Cam Jurgens, but Drew Kendall may have just slammed it shut. He got a heavy dose of second-team reps and even pushed rookie DT Ty Robinson back a few yards on one play. The Eagles like what they see, and with his natural feel for the position, Kendall might be locking it down sooner than later. The pads are popping, the rookies are flashing, and the first preseason game is creeping closer. Let the overreactions roll. Camp is getting fierce, rookies are making noise, and some names are rising, while others are raising concerns. If you're enjoying the updates, hit subscribe and stay locked in for all things Eagles.